My name is Mariusz Kedziora. I work in Microsoft as an app innovation lead for, as I said, Central and Eastern Europe. And I'm based in Poland also, as I said. And I'm very proud and happy that I can be here with you on the Build Stuff Meetup. So what I want to show you today is how app innovations and digital transformation can change the future of your companies and also the future of yourself. So I will start with, probably you all heard about digital transformation, and for some of you it could be just a word, marketing words. But let's take a look at one interesting thing. So these are the most valuable companies in the world in 2011 in terms of the capitalization. Maybe you recognize some of them, or maybe not. It is, not so long time ago. So let's move just 8 or 9 years later. In 2019, these are the most valuable companies in the world. Those with the green background are tech companies. So let me show you more interesting observation from my side around the digital transformation. So probably you know this company. In 1996, the Kodak was worth around $38 billion and had 140K employees. So you can tell that each employee was able to bring around 270K of value to this company. And it was the traditional company, but with the big technology background. If you look 10 years later, YouTube has been bought for 1.6 billion and there were 65 employees. So each of them was bringing 25 millions of value to the value of the company. 6 years later, 2012, Instagram was bought for $1 billion and there were 13 employees. So each of them bringing the 77 millions of value by themselves. And the last example here is 3 years later, 2014, WhatsApp was bought for $19 billion and there were 55 employees. So each of them bring $345 million of value. We will get back to those numbers, but now let me get back to digital transformation. Every company wants to digitally transform, and we as a Microsoft see organizations reaching real benefits of this digital transformation, and these positive outcomes are really amazing. So in a recent study, 91% of business leaders sees this digital transformation as a way of sparking innovations and finding those efficiencies for their organization. And those organizations that are successfully going through this digital transformation journey are not those who are watching only on technology, but the ones that look at the vision, strategy, culture, unique potential, and capabilities they have as a foundational element first, but then they turn to technology with a specific role in mind. And across all industries we are looking at, from retail, healthcare, financial, and more, software is at the heart of every company's strategy lately. Today, every company relies on software, and even companies that you will not think about them as a software companies, they rely on software heavily. So getting back to those numbers I showed to you, what do you think was really crucial to get such a value, but not so many people in those 3 companies on the right, leaving the Kodak here? It was for sure developers. And today I will be talking to you about the developers, because today hiring for software engineers is growing 11% faster outside of the tech industry than within the tech industry itself. So more and more companies outside of the tech industry needs also those software engineers. And one group of people that is crucial for these digital transformations are, of course, developers, because they are the builders of our era, creating, ideas, writing the code that enables this digital transformation, and they are at the heart of this innovation. So become a digital company. Every company must build that culture that empowers developers to achieve more. Without developers, it will not be possible to do this. And what I want to show you in the moment, up here. So what we've learned in Microsoft is that organizations that successfully empower those developers realize this developer velocity. It enables developers to create more, innovate more, and solve more problems. So developer velocity for us is not just about the speed of building the software, doing all of this coding, but about unleashing the power of developers. And for us as a Microsoft, and we are doing a lot for developers. So for us, it means that we would like to focus on helping developers build productively. This is one area. Second is to enable the secure collaboration within the team, but also within the whole organization and with a broader global community of developers. And third, let's say motion for us is the scaling for innovation by helping developers empower the whole company. So let me tell you about those three things in the moment, but one more comment before we jump to those three pillars. We are seeing that over 500 million apps and services will be built over the next 5 years. 500 million apps and services. Now it's more the number of apps written during the entire time that Microsoft has been around. And doing this will need a lot of developers. It will also require from all of us to get better at how we are building the software. So that's why we are seeing this as so much important for the developers community to support them in those three pillars. So when it comes to building productively, there are two areas of opportunity where Microsoft can help. So first, we are ensuring that developers become proficient in their domain by helping them to advance their knowledge. And second, by giving them the right tools to build this software. So one of the best ways to improve the skills of the developers is to give you the tools you love and you know. So our tools are trying to meet developers, where you are today, and expose you to the technologies in the context of the code that you are writing. So with our commitment also to open source and to support all languages, all frameworks in our tools, we would like, for developers to build the software how you want and deploy where you want to do. So our mission with those tools, with Visual Studio mainly, is to provide you the best-in-class tools for every developer. And with Visual Studio and Visual Studio for Mac, we enable developers who want to have a full IDE. And with Visual Studio Code, we support developers who want a lightweight and code-optimized editor. So Visual Studio Code redefines code editing. It's free and it's run everywhere. So we are seeing this Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code usage growing significantly in every developer community. And what we found is that with Visual Studio Code and Visual Studio continue to be the #1 and #2 most popular development tools used across all the developer communities at Stack Overflow. This is the survey it was done on the Stack Overflow. And we are not stopping there. So software development is constantly, changing, evolving, and those developers tools needs to reflect those changes in modern development workflows. So with our platform, developer has not just access to the latest technologies, but also to the cutting-edge tool chain that supports the way they work. So Visual Studio is, from our perspective, but it's also the feedback we are getting, is one of the most productive tools out there with the new features that are focused on improving how to do things better. So like, for example, with IntelliCode that uses right now the AI power to bring in the wisdom of the open source community into your tools, into your IDE, and with suggestions, smarter things, completion, simplifying repetitive tasks like refactoring, and helping you to share those best practices with the rest of the team. And also the development, probably as all of you know, is a team sport. So whether you work on a team or you are part of the larger development community, this new features with LiveShare gives you the real-time collaboration right in your IDE. You can edit, debug, share apps with a teammate anywhere around the world. And lastly, the Visual Studio Codespaces, which is formerly known probably to some of you as Visual Studio Online. It solves the pain points of setting up the development environment. We know that one of the biggest pain points today is setting up a new developer box. So now with Visual Studio Codespace, you can have dedicated environments for any project, any task in minutes, thanks to the power of the cloud. And you can work also in your favorite tools, so Visual Studio Code, or even built-in browser-based editor for those quick things. So let's switch to the second pillar here. Software development, as I said, is a team sport. So collaboration with the peers and knowledge sharing within the team is fundamental. So also the breaking down barriers between the development and operations is essential from our point of view and from the companies we are working with. So there is also a wealth of organizational knowledge, and let's talk about it. So for us, it starts with the GitHub. So recently Microsoft completed the acquisition of GitHub, and this GitHub for us is at the heart of the open source community and always be an open platform that supports all developers. So in fact, the GitHub today is the largest developer community on the planet. This is the number pretty current, I think, from 1 month ago, from the build, that with over 50 million of developers from every country on earth. And the collaboration is at the heart of the GitHub. Last year, developers made over 1 billion contribution to the open source projects and also private repos that are hosted on GitHub. So that's where you and other developers probably collaborate already, and that's where source code is, and that's where you are doing this continuous integration. So in a world where every company is becoming a digital company, as I said, it's used also by enterprises too. So the world-leading companies trust GitHub with their code. So the 31 companies out of Fortune 50 is using GitHub for their own development. So it's really trusted by the enterprises too. And also what we are seeing, the three trends that impacting modern app development. First thing is that developers drive innovation, and there is a shortage of development talent across the industries. So this is one thing. Second thing that what we are seeing is that 99% of projects includes open source components. Open source almost for sure is in your company, and you or someone else needs to secure it. And the third thing is that cloud enables faster cycles, and companies are struggling to implement the DevOps approach. And also on this open source code, let me also tell you something. We are seeing that 90% of the code in new applications comes from open source. In fact, we find that on average projects have dependencies that rely on the works of more than 10,000 developers. So the most of the code and most of the developers are already on the GitHub, and we are helping collaborate with them. So as I mentioned, GitHub is uniquely positioned to help your organization take advantage of this previously mentioned trends. And through empowering this collaboration internally, which is sometimes called inner sourcing, probably you already heard that word. And with the open source community, you can both retain and attract the best talents. And everything also can be done securely. GitHub is the only platform that takes an end-to-end view on security from open source project to deployed code. So we invested a lot in innovation to help those developers to work together to secure your code. And GitHub powers planet scale DevOps for the open source community, and we can bring that power to you. One more thing on the security that probably could be interesting for you. So despite all these security tools we have out there, the number of security threats have been going up pretty much at the same rate software is being written. So that's why GitHub is so much on security too, to have it, this in one place. And last fact on our tools, the Azure DevOps and GitHub teams run now as a one combined engineering team under one leader, Nat Friedman. And those teams are now working together to bring those developer tools to our communities and make sure that we have a roadmap for both products. And that roadmap aligns with our customer needs. So we are looking at those needs and trying to implement all of those things in the tools. And every team needs a complete set of tools to create, deploy, operate, and planning tools to collaborate around it. And every dev team or single dev is different. And choice can often be a good thing. So you can choose, between those tools you really like. And good news is that we are not, we've got not just one, but 3 product lines of developer tools. So a lot of teams use Azure DevOps today, and we are going to continue to be able to use it. And we are also building up a full tool set in GitHub. So if you are starting your project in GitHub, you can stay in GitHub. And of course, Visual Studio has the best coding tools anywhere, as I mentioned already before. But we are making our tools easier to use together. So if your team needs a mix of those tools, you can do that more easily. And if you are using other tools, I have also great news, because all three products have great extension model. So together we have the largest developer system in the world. And last pillar, as I mentioned before, so the scaling innovation, and Microsoft has unique offering to help you spark and scale innovation in your organization. And to drive more innovation, professional developers today can create this application, empower more experts in your organization to build apps on a reliable foundation. So with Microsoft Azure, all of us can get this security from the ground up, backed by a team of experts, proactive compliance, etc., etc. So let's talk about the potential scale to your application. Azure is, as we call it somehow, world's computer, and Azure is global. We have 60 plus Azure regions worldwide, and I'm not sure if you heard, lately we announced one of the data centers that will be located in Central and Eastern Europe. It will be located in Poland soon. So you can use this power of those services in the cloud to build those applications in a way. So now, if you haven't looked at Azure in a few months, you may be surprised to see what we have these days. This is, of course, the high-level map of the class of services we have to offer. We have over right now 200 products and services. And we are also expanding to the edge, as you can see. So it's not only cloud, it's not only on-premise, but it's sometimes something between. So also we have, as you see on the right hand on the screen, the developer tools, which are very important for us. And this gives you the scope of what Azure as a platform and services can do for you. And you can then focus on building modern applications. So Azure supports and provides all the building blocks that you need, and your developer teams needs to build those applications using containers, managed databases, AI, and serverless capabilities. And of course, we could spend hours or days talking about that, so we don't have a time to go deeper on this. But let me switch a little bit to Azure AI, because you can very easily, right now in those times, you can very easily infuse AI into your application with Azure. So first, using pre-trained models that we have built, and you can easily customize them with your data. If you need more flexibility, you can build your custom AI models using our machine learning services. And also we have additional Azure cognitive services that provides you a comprehensive set of pre-trained AI services, and they can be accessed through a REST-based API or deployed in containers that live within your application. And we are continuing to enhance our Azure cognitive services by introducing a number of great new capabilities. So there's a lot for you to see there. And just going to the close of my session, let me close with saying that Microsoft, from my point of view, is unique in the industry and provides your organization with the world's most comprehensive developer toolkit. And we have there everything you need to accelerate this developer velocity in your organization, as I said before. So I hope you will have the great rest of the meetup, as I know there are great speakers today. And then, for example, the first session with Linda was great experience for me. So thanks also for this. And I also hope that in this session, it was a little bit empowering for you. And I'm sure that you all will be able to achieve more with the support of the things we are doing in Microsoft. So thank you so much. If you want to stay in touch with me, please reach me through those channels. Website and Facebook is in Polish, but on LinkedIn, I'm writing in English. So please reach out to me with any questions. My name is Mariusz Kedziora. Thank you so much for this session and having me here.
Wonderful. Thank you. That was a whirlwind. So many things. And actually it was pretty much a show and tell of the tools that I mostly use every day with various kinds of customers and so forth. I have my business in Azure and I work as a consultant. So that was, for me, this was all familiar, but I know that it's not the case for everyone out there.
Yeah.
So that was useful. Do you even know how many, exactly how many regions there are? There's so many regions for Azure publicly announced now. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think we announced around 4 or 5 new regions around the world.
There's like Northern Italy and some other new things like just very recently announced, right?
Yeah, In Italy for sure, and I think one is in the South America. I don't remember.
Yeah,
which
Mexico, Central, and then Poland, and there's plenty of new ones coming up. I'm still waiting for the Swedish data centers to hopefully soon, sometime, be announced as Azure regions. That's not been disclosed, but what has been disclosed, which is actually public, as a matter of public record in Sweden, is that Microsoft has purchased 3 plots of land in Sweden and filed building permits for 3 data centers. But it hasn't been said that these are Azure data centers or whatever. We'll see. We'll see as the story unfolds.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you have any questions right now, you can put them in the chat.
Yeah, probably I will go after my session. I will go through the questions in the chat.
Why did you not? Hamza is asking, why did you not mention GitLab?
I don't know, because maybe it's we are, we acquired the GitHub as a company, and we are investing heavily in the GitHub as a tool for developers. So it's right now it's our Microsoft company, but still what you can see, in the news and etc. The GitHub will stay as a separate part outside of the Microsoft. It's not, it's not connecting very closely. So even our colleagues from the GitHub, even if they are somehow from Microsoft right now, they are still outside of the Microsoft. And I think it's because the Microsoft and GitHub want to maintain the GitHub, open source approach with a lot of clouds, lots of developers, lots of technologies. So that's why it will stay.
So do you want to comment on sort of the elephant in the room, the big one, as in Microsoft bought GitHub, which was a great, and I would say inevitable purchase. It was only a matter of time. I'm surprised it took this long. But also Microsoft owns and builds and has plenty of enterprise customers using Azure DevOps. So you have GitHub and Azure DevOps, GitHub Actions, DevOps pipelines. You have basically competing products. And so what are you going to do with that?
Yeah, so for now, what we are doing, we are building all those 2 tools in the same way. So we are not saying that we will not build anything for DevOps or for Azure DevOps or for GitHub. We are trying to do what our customer needs. So we are for sure betting on the GitHub as a platform for the future, but we all still have a pretty extensive roadmap for Azure DevOps. So if the customers are using the Azure DevOps right now, they can still use it. They will have new features, etc. So, but if you are trying right now, for example, starting a new project, even if you are using Azure DevOps, probably it will be a good idea to try the GitHub to see how it works. And also probably in next year or maybe 2, we will be building tools to any type of the migration of your source code or tools or things you did in Azure DevOps to help you migrate to the GitHub. But for now, we are having as I said, the roadmap for both of those tools.
Yeah, because there's a bit of a jump in terms of skill set as well, because, well, currently at least in the current incarnation of, let's again speak specifically to pipelines versus actions, right? DevOps pipelines and GitHub Actions are not the same thing, and there's a different skill set involved with the 2 of them. And I think that's going to be a larger gap for the current population or projects or organizations that are using DevOps. If let's pretend that they eventually or at some point might migrate to be hosting their things in GitHub, that we want to see a merger between these 2 worlds in a way that doesn't make it insurmountable to transcend from one to the other.
So that's why we are advising our customers that are using the Azure DevOps right now. We are advising them, hey, let's try the GitHub. There are the free version of the GitHub, and there are, of course, the enterprise version, of course. And the good thing is that our existing Azure DevOps customers can also buy the enterprise version of the GitHub in pretty easy way. And we are trying to empower our customers to try the GitHub in small projects, maybe, etc., to see how it will work. As you said, sometimes there are a little bit different products, so there will be somehow a skill gaps for
it. So and there's Azure repos as well. There's a question actually here. So Azure DevOps has its backend store of for source code, but there really isn't any reason not to put the source code in GitHub right now, because you can pull that into Azure DevOps as easy as you want and just use that there, right? Because I would venture to say that the feature set in GitHub repos is better than the one in DevOps. I don't know. Do you have a preference?
Yeah, this is something I was also saying in my session. So for now, and I think for the next year or two at least, we are giving the full decision to the customer which tools they want to use. We will be supporting both of them. We will be building both of those tools. So if customers wants to use the DevOps, let's do it. If they want to use the GitHub, let's do it. And the switch between those tools probably should be much easier each and every day. So what our plan is for the developer. I definitely. So we actually just got the question from Greg here, the licensing question. It's the one, right? So GitHub Enterprise account and Azure DevOps license, and what's the bridge here? I believe there was a recent announcement, wasn't there? Nat gave some kind of an announcement recently. I'm not sure.
Maybe I can tell you. No, I don't know the details, but there was something.
I'm not sure. From the licensing perspective, for now, I think it's a pretty easy way to buy GitHub licenses. They are not, connected right now. From my point of view, I'm not sure, but from my point of view, they are not connected somehow. So if you have Azure DevOps licenses, it's not mean that that you somehow automatically got the GitHub licenses. They are still separate products, separate licensing, etc. But if you said something that not maybe said, probably I should look at it because I don't know.
I'm trying to look at it right now. But anyway, I can't find it right now. But
I will check this. So I will get back to you, Greg.
Let's, Leah, exactly. If you find something about this, would you put it in the chat and to see this? Basically, we're talking about the bridge in licensing terms, right? If an organization already have, like, they're running DevOps, right? How can they start using within their organization GitHub to try it out? What's the bridge here? I think that's a very valid and useful question.
So there are of course the free GitHub accounts.
But free. This is enterprise, so it doesn't count.
So I think for those who wants to try the GitHub on the, let's say, company level, not on the individual level, I think I would encourage you to reach out to your account managers in Microsoft. If you cannot find it or you don't have it, just please reach out to me. I will try to to support you in getting the information how to use it. There is no very simple, easy way how to bridge those two licenses for now.
All right.
So
I'm going to let you off the hook there. No worries. Again, really very much thank you for your presentation. It was like a really big show and tell of all the features and all the great things in Azure and DevOps and so forth. So thank you much for that.